What's going on, guys? If you're here on this video right now, I'm going to explain to you how I went from doubting myself and struggling to taking bold action and building a six-figure business. If you don't know me, my name is Jalen Evans. I am the #1 professionally certified coach that focuses on mindset and business strategy. And in this video, again, I'm going to tell you how I went from procrastinating, thinking negatively, thinking the worst case scenarios, avoiding, to ultimately executing on all of my ideas and now having a six-figure business. All right. So let's talk through this. So quick little tone switch here. So I was struggling, to be honest with you. I grew up very sheltered. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and I always felt protected and never pushed. And that's because I grew up around a lot of women. So my mother, my grandmothers, my aunties. I have a lot of women in my family, so I felt very nurtured and very supported, which is a great thing. But as a man, you need that male role model, that male figure that's going to help to push you to that next level. I never really received that. And that's the foundation of where it all started. And when I moved to a new environment, so I moved down to Atlanta, still here currently, and I faced a lot of rejection. I faced a lot of doubt. And I had to start over with my network, with my friends, with people that I was connected with. And that took a toll. That took a toll on my self-perception, the way that I viewed myself. And what happened was, early on when you're in these developmental years, I was getting roasted, to be honest, right? I was getting roasted and flamed, and that's before I knew how to roast back. So I just had to take all of those negative images about myself. So people had something to say about how I looked, how I moved, and how I carried myself. I heard things like I was fat and I was ugly and I was just all these negative things, and it started to sit with me, and it changed my perception from this nurtured kid to now having these negative self-perceptions about myself. And I started to think very negatively at a very young age, and that's what started it all. And also I would hear negative things from my parents as well, right? So I started to develop this negative self-perception of self, and then my confidence got wrecked. Like, I was thinking all of the negative things. It was carrying into every aspect of my life. It was carrying into the sports. It was carrying into my ideas, into my grades. It was carrying into everything that I did, because how I believed, or what I believed about myself, my future, and what I was actually capable of. I started to feel invisible. I started to feel overlooked. And I thought that being a good person, being nice, being sweet, whatever it was good enough, but it wasn't. And it started to affect all the areas of my life, my health, my relationships, my how I interacted with everyone, women, my other friends, right? Like, I couldn't look people in the eyes. Like, I had a lack of confidence in that way. I was scared to speak up. All of those things had me questioning my worth. So I felt stuck. I was unsure of what I wanted to do, who I wanted to become, what my next steps were. And honestly speaking, I did not know how to change. I was in a very, very bad place. And to top it all off, as I continued to grow older, I hit a rock bottom. Like, I started to take all of these negative thoughts, this lack of confidence, and all the procrastinating and avoiding how I was really feeling, and I just started looking at myself differently. I thought I was a failure. And on top of that, I thought that anything that I would try would be a failure. I thought that I wouldn't be able to live up to this expectation. So I started to hate what I saw in the mirror. Like, I started to hate how I viewed myself. Like, I started to have what's called this body dysmorphia. That's more so on the bodily side, on the body side. But even mentally, I was thinking all of the worst things about myself, and I did not know how to get out of that funk. And what that started to do was how I was thinking turned into how I felt, and then how I felt turned into my actions. So I felt shame, so therefore I was avoiding situations. I was downplaying myself. I thought I wasn't good enough for opportunities. I thought that I wasn't good enough to start executing. And I knew that I was a smart guy. Like, I was always smart, but my mind was telling me that I wasn't. So it started to have me moving in hesitation. And what I did to try to help that was I was avoiding it, right? Like, I was just, all right, well, it is what it is. I'm gonna just start smoking. Started smoking, started drinking, started hanging around a wrong crowd of people. And, all of these things are just taking me lower and lower and lower. And even the people that I started to hang out with around that time, some of them, one of the guys that I was hanging around with has life in prison right now. Another guy is doing a long time bid as well. So I'm hanging around these guys that now today are doing completely different things than I am. And I'm hanging around these people. So imagine the mindset that I'm getting from these people, right? So I'm doing just negative things and I'm making reckless decisions. And I ended up getting arrested while doing these things. I got arrested, and it wasn't because I was a bad person. Like I said, it was because I was lost. I was hanging with the wrong people, and I'm at rock bottom, right? Like I'm feeling awful. And then on top of that, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know how to get there. I didn't know if I was capable of doing it. I didn't have any money. I was just like down bad. And even though you see me smiling in this picture right here, I still was feeling just depressed and down and just lost. No confidence, no mental work, nothing was going on. So I was at the bottom of the bottom, and I had to make a choice. So once I got arrested, that was a turning point to me. It's like I woke up. It's like, oh, okay, well, now I have to make a change. I had to wake up. On the pathway that I was on, there was no one that was coming to save me. I had to stop making excuses because I knew in my mind, I always wanted to be successful. I just didn't know how it was going to happen. So at that point, I had to I had to take control. And what I did was I started to grind, and instead of complain. I had to shift my mindset that everything was happening to me to everything was happening for me. And I started to execute. And I had to get uncomfortable. Like I had to start to push myself and do more activities, do more things that were going to make me grow. So in the bottom left-hand corner there is where I actually got a Fortune 500 job doing exactly what I'm doing now, in a sense, right? Like that's full circle, but I was helping other people with professional development. Did I know that was my purpose at the time? No, but I had to take a step. So I took a step there. I went to graduate school, got a degree, started to invest in real estate, kind of foreshadowing for you here a little bit. And I actually went to coaching school after I graduated from psychology with a psychology degree. And I had to learn how to change. There was no more waiting. There wasn't any more hesitation. I had to take action. And I'll tell you the steps that I took to get there was necessary. So I went on a rebuild mode. So what I had to do was a couple of things, and I'll move here so you can see this picture here. So as you can see in this picture right here, it's not that I was living in those homes. I'm actually buying and investing in those homes. But what consisted of the rebuild was, first and foremost, I had to invest in myself. I had to put money into myself, into my mind. I had to figure out why I was thinking negatively about myself. I had to figure out why I was procrastinating, why I was avoiding my decisions, why I couldn't execute on my ideas and get clarity on how I can move forward. So I started to attend conferences almost every other weekend. Every quarter, I'm putting at least 5 figures into myself. And I started investing. As you can see, the VIP, I was getting VIP at every event. I went to that event. That event changed my life. I went to the next level speakers conference. That changed my life because I'm starting to learn about myself. I'm starting to learn why I'm thinking negatively, and I'm starting to get clarity. I'm starting to see a vision. I'm starting to see, okay, what do I need to do? How can I start to help myself and help my situation? So I'm investing in personal development. I'm getting my body right. I'm hitting the gym, and I changed my habits. I changed my mindset, and I changed my environment. Excuse me. No longer am I hanging out with people that are not serving me. No longer am I talking to people that don't understand my problems and don't understand how they can help me. I started hiring coaches, hiring mentors that were going to help me to level up because I was done playing around. That was my wake-up call. And was the beginning of the rebuild. So as I continue to move along, I started to transform. Things started changing for me. Like I said, I went to a coaching school where I learned how to coach and help people and understand the mind on a different level. So I built a business helping over 1,500 men do the exact same thing that I did. I started to invest in real estate. I started winning awards. I won an award at my university. I started buying real estate on the bottom right-hand corner. On the left-hand corner here, you'll see I was so excited because I started to see that things can change, that my mindset, my self-belief, my perception was not going to hold me back any longer. That was the first time I ever made $20,000 in cash. And I felt amazing because I started to achieve peak physical, mental, and financial health. And I started to build wealth by mastering my mindset and starting to learn how to execute. So this rebuild was so necessary. Hiring people for myself was necessary. Investing into myself was necessary. And it all contributed into me finding clarity, confidence, and removing any procrastination or doubt that I had in myself. Without me taking that rebuild, none of this would be possible. Everything was a very integral and important part for me to go to the next level. All right. So here's a couple of key takeaways or books and recommendations that I want to share with you. First and foremost, this book is recommended a lot, but I want to share with you is, again, I think this was the first book that I read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It talks about ownership and not just labor. I know a lot of you probably have jobs. That's amazing. Use your job. Be an entrepreneur, meaning be an entrepreneur inside of your company. Be somebody that's going to be an innovator. I did that. Learn how to work your job and also start something on the side. I know you have ideas. So that book talks about how can you take what you have and become an owner and not necessarily taking your making money with your time and switching that up. That's a great read. Another recommendation is Psycho Cybernetics. That book changed the game for me because it was all about my self-image. And again, that was one of my biggest downfalls is the way that I looked at myself, the lack of confidence. So it talks about how can you recreate your self-image and start focusing on what you want to do. A great book, a great read that really helped me out along with me getting my coach as well. All right. Another thing is Winning by Tim Grover. He was the personal trainer for Kobe and Michael Jordan. And talks about being successful, having relentless discipline, and just having that mindset that Kobe and Michael Jordan had. All right. So that was a good book. And Atomic Habits, right? It talks all about habits. Small daily actions create massive results. All of these books were necessary in my journey and my transformation, along with everything else that I mentioned as well. So I have a question for you all. All right. So before I get to the question, if you keep waiting on the right time, you're going to wake up 5 years from now in the exact same spot. Now, I think back on my story and I imagine if I never would have started to go through that rebuild phase, if I never would have started investing in myself, if I never would have started putting forth the effort, I would still be a lion trapped in a cage waiting for more, waiting for my opportunity. Or even worse, I could be with those guys that are doing life in jail or doing years and years of a bid in jail because I didn't have any clarity. I didn't know where I was going to go. I let my mindset talk me into decisions or let me hold on to my ideas that I knew would be great ideas. I sat on the sideline watching other people do exactly what I knew that I could do. All right. So the men who win are the ones who move now, not later. The procrastination, you feeling like you can do it on your own, is not going to happen. The only thing that's going to happen is you're going to continue to procrastinate and wish that things are going to get better, and they're not. And that's the sad truth. All right. So my question is, are you ready to get out of the slow lane? Are you ready to stop trying to figure things out on your own or calling friends and family and wishing they had the answers and they just tell you just keep going? That's not enough. You have to get out of the slow lane and stop trying to figure things out on yourself, on your own, and get some support and coaching that's going to help you to go to the next level. That's what changed everything for me. So what I need you to do is, if you made it to the end of this call, I know that you want more. I know that you have ideas that you're waiting to execute on. I know that you want to build something bigger than your job, or you want to grow inside of your job and you just can't figure out exactly how to do that. If I want you to go ahead and book a 15-minute coffee chat, it's completely free. And on that call, we're going to talk about your journey. We're going to talk about what's in your way. What are the mental blocks or the lack of clarity that is keeping you from moving forward inside of your life, inside of your business, inside of your relationships, whatever it is that's keeping you stuck. We're going to identify the exact same pinpoint, and I'm going to show you the activities and the strategy that I use with all of those clients. Like I said, 1,500 clients that I've worked with, and we're going to talk about how we can start to implement that with you. Because the truth is if you don't take action today, if you don't take action now, things will continue to look how they look. And I know that you want more, because if you didn't, you would not still be here on this call. All right. So go ahead and click the link below or go to elevateyourfuture.org and book a quick 15-minute chat, and I will see you there. And if you already have your call booked, I can't wait to meet you. Looking forward to having a conversation with you. All right. The time is now. Can't wait to see you. All right. We'll talk soon. You take care. Bye.